complete piece of shit.
I was gonna say, they were teetering dangerously close to Sidwell being, actually, I was doing the right thing this whole time, and you didn't realize it.
Nah, they're not that dumb. He's just such a piece of shit that he wants to joke about it. I've gotta say that, as a villain, I kinda love this guy. Somehow, they have managed to make him slightly multi-dimensional. Which, given, everything, feels like kind of an achievement. As to why I think that, this might require you to put some pieces together, but we'll get there. The core of it is, for whatever reason, he does seem to actually care about Leah. Even as, he spins up entire other avatars and just arbitrarily tortures them and then deletes them forever. They made a point of having him do both. Which honestly makes him a better villain. It's one thing to just have a guy who's just a sociopathic monster. But it's another thing entirely to have somebody who, definitely demonstrably has elements of humanity, but chooses to suspend them for profit motives. It's much worse.
I hope we're about to find out in the rest of the ending, but that's it? They're just gonna let Sidwell walk away? Just wash his hands of the whole thing? Whoops, sorry. No, a bunch of your friends killed, some friend killed himself, and, I basically torched the careers of, 3 really promising game designers, but, what are you gonna do? It was profitable.
Yeah, they'd have to find him, though. And this is the other thing. They don't actually know who he is, or where he's connecting from. All they've done is ruined this one plan of his. Can you imagine being the CEO or the head of legal or just any executive position at Instatainment and getting this call? What the hell do you even say to that?
I mean, I imagine it starts with several swear words and then a mountain of cease and desists.
cannot stress enough how bad an idea it was for Satoshi to just drop it. No. Had to go and spin up the strong AI. Right, this is an MMO. I guess it would have stuff like this happen from time to time.
And of course, she would be the one that knew it. She would know every inch of that lore and could tell you in excruciating detail about the Great Frobbit Plague.
And yes, obviously, Lynn is 100% here for Apollo's bullshit.
You know, I appreciate Leia's attempt to just cast herself into the water to free herself from that party, but alas, there was nothing she could do.
They will never stop dunking on Apollo. And whom among us would?
What a dick.
Worked out in the end. CrossCode, everybody. It was a lot.
Yeah? A lot is a good way to describe it.
I believe I've been very consistent about this characterization from literally the beginning.
I don't know, I'm left with very mixed feelings on the matter, all things considered.
Alright, let's hear it.
I mean, I'm sure that some of this is a consequence of watching and not necessarily playing, although I have played some of it, so I am not completely talking out of my ass. It just seems like everything, and I do mean everything, by virtue of the fact that they went just absolutely balls out for all the puzzles, all the platforming. It's just exhausting. And it feels like everything is just too long.
Oh, it is definitely exhausting.
Like, literally everything. Like, all of the environments, all of the platforming puzzles, all of the fights, it feels like you could have safely cut, like, a third of them, and kept the same level of intensity, and it would have felt a lot better, I think.
See, that's just the thing. This is entirely true. This game is exhausting, and it maintains this intensity in every aspect of its design that I don't think I'm ever used to seeing anywhere outside of like a Platinum Games final boss. And it just does it all the time. And it is exhausting. And frankly, the thing is though that I think this exact same thing, and that's why I love this game. It's like, it's good exhausting. You can be good exhausted. It's a thing. What this game does is it just takes a couple of things that I love. Like having these environments that you can unwrap, these puzzles that are designed in this very particular puzzle gamey kind of way rather than in an action gamey kind of way. Things that make my brain feel good, and it just does them continuously.
But
for 40 hours.
Which is funny, because...
What am I supposed to do, not love it?
I mean, I think that is a very loaded thing. Is I also love all of these things. I love puzzles, I love platformers, I love RPGs, and between what I have seen of what ultimately comes of this and the bit of it that I have actually played, I probably would not give this game more than maybe like a 7.5.
Woof. Rough crowd.
And that's not because it's not good at what it does. I just think I don't enjoy it to the same extent because I don't feel like, because it is always on, because it is always going, you don't ever really get any downtime. You don't really get any points to kind of decompress and enjoy, like, the dungeon that you just went through, because you're then instantly thrown into the next exploration area, which is more of that.
There's something to that. I think it might just be one of those situations where the game is just uncompromising about what it is. It's the way it is, and the people who love it are gonna love it a lot. And the people who maybe don't love it so much, well, some games don't want to please everybody. It's a thing. I've gone on record a couple times saying that I honestly think that games trying to please everybody usually goes to the detriment of something.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, like, that is absolutely true. Like, this game would be a lesser game if it toned things down to the point of trying to please, anyone who has ever picked up a Mario game ever. Like, if you tried to bring in every single platformer fan to be like, hey, you're gonna love CrossCode because it's got the platforming you love plus all this other great stuff. Like, I think that would be a disaster.
Yeah.
But I think equally, it goes too far and too hard in what it does do.
Maybe.
And I think it ultimately loses all but the hardest of the hardcore, I think.
Incidentally, did you piece together the awful truth about Citron? Oh well, whether or not you did, here's the bad ending. Cannot believe that Leah is fucking dead.
It's incredible. It's almost like the investors saw what was going on and was like, fucking excuse me? Absolutely not. You know, like they did the first time.
Yeah. Now, as I think the game has made incredibly obvious on a number of occasions, the thing that branches the ending is whether we do that one quest with Ivan. Or alternatively, if you do it and then fail the interview. This will also happen. The game drops a lot of hints about this. If you don't do it, in the ending cutscenes, when we were talking to Albert in Rhombus Square, he will actually be like, wow, it would have been real neat if we could have talked to my friend about this. Hint, hint. The good news is, the game makes it extremely painless to go back and redo the ending. And also it gives you a cause to do this scene without stopping to talk to anybody. Which, like, who's gonna not talk to people under normal circumstances? Which is good. This means that we actually get to do a version of this where we keep pace with everyone and just run through the whole thing in order, and people keep trying to stop to talk to us, and we're like, nope, sorry, serious business.
Not really the time, guys. We're kind of on a clock here.
And then, yeah, when you start getting to the gameplay bits, the game is just, yeah, do you want to skip this? Okay. And it just teleports you here. And then you walk in here, and the game's like, yeah, do you want to skip this? Okay. Up you go. Does the same to the final boss and everything. It's good. Very video games, I have to respect it. Speaking of having to respect it, I guess this is the point during this episode in which we have to briefly talk about Citron. Because, this sure does paint some things in a light. I guess I should probably state that I am a huge fan of how much foreshadowing the game manages to cram into the hours in which the plot just isn't moving at all. There's a whole bunch of incidental dialogue that hints at something being up. And you can catch it, and it's all good. It's like a writer got their hands on this or something. So, I got good news and bad news about the good ending. The good news is we got the good ending, and we can continue. The bad news is, Now, I'll grant, the sting has been taken out of this quite a bit by virtue of the DLC actually being out and available at this point, because you could have finished this in 2018
Oof.
and gotten this message.
Yeah, that's rough.
The thing is, though, that this game has a story, and this game's story concludes. Like, this is a conclusion. They wrapped it up, they delivered on the stuff, they resolved all the things. It's good. This isn't so bad, honestly. Similarly, this is of course not going to be the end of the LP. We've not only got the DLC to do, but also I guess I have to get around to showing New Game Plus at some point. So there's that as well, that's going to be a whole thing. So even though this isn't the end, it is at this point customary in a Let's Play to say thanks for watching.
See you, folks.